There we go. That's a good place to start. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. My name is JJ Asgar, and I'm a developer advocate for the IBM Cloud. And I have my friend here who is?
My name is Paul, and I am a developer advocate for VMware.
Yeah, I hope that'll. So we've been to a few streams last few Thursdays, and we've done some really awesome things with Helm and some really fun different other little projects. Today we're going to switch it up a little bit, mainly because honestly I kind of want to try and change it up. See what else we can do. So one of the complaints that we've gotten is that people hate seeing me type because I type very slow, and people make fun of me for it.
It's not as much you type slow as you type with lots of typos and I would deal with it okay if you typed slow.
Yeah, but no, my weird typing is not great. So over the last week or so, honestly, the last couple of days, I set up a Tmux machine. If you don't know, Tmux is a way to do multiple screens to do something. Multiple, I guess they're called windows. As you can see here, this is Tmux running, that little nice green bar at the bottom, where both me and CZ, go ahead and type something. There we go. We both can share the same window. He can actually change the window right now if you want to go ahead and do that real quick. There you go. And he can start typing and saying, JJ, you suck. Keep doing the things you do, which is nice, which allows us to work a little bit faster. There you go. I like it. So in the process of setting all this stuff up, we needed to figure out a way to get shell integrations because we all have different shells. We all use different things, but we needed something that we can all unify on. And we decided to use something called Starship, which is this cross-shell platform. If you want to bring this back, that's actually this up here in the top. If you can read that, hopefully you can. Yeah, looks like you can. Where it can tell you some things about Kubernetes. It can tell you about some Git stuff also. There's some Git plugins. Perfect. Kubernetes, just as CZ did at the bottom right there. And then we have an open terminal, allows us to move around. So we can have a little bit more organization about what the stuff we do. And ideally, we're gonna go through everything we have in the agenda.
Yeah, so I just want to break in real quick and say I suggested Starship because I saw Brian Lyles using it on Friday doing his TGIK, which if you're into Kubernetes, well worth checking out TGIK. It's a weekly show on Fridays. They talk about a bunch of Kubernetes stuff. And what I found good about it was it kind of solved a problem I've been having where I like to have a lot of rich information in my prompt, but I also don't like to lose all of that space, my horizontal width, right? So one of the things Starship does is it splits your prompt. So it puts all the information in one line and then gives you a prompt under it. And so that means I can, just looking at my screen, I know exactly what directory I'm in. I know what Kubernetes cluster I'm attached to, what namespace I'm in, stuff like that. But also I have like a full line of typing. And so I saw that. And so when JJ was saying setting up Tmux, I said, well, let's try out Starship.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say that it took me, a handful of minutes to get everything up and running. The actual installation wasn't too bad. If you scroll all the way down here, I'll put this in the chat just so we can have it for later. If you see here, it's basically just either brew install or bash install, curl bash install, and then you just export it out either via SSH or bash or Z shell. And that brings us to our next topic that I just want to kind of touch on before we kind of start hacking away at things, which is oh-my-zsh or oh-my-zsh. I'm going to quickly admit that I was very not in favor of this because I moved away from Z shell a long time ago. I got deep into the Z shell community when I was a Rails developer. or Rails developer. I wasn't really a developer. I was more of a supporter. Anyway, point being, and it became kind of a religious war. And then eventually I started going around to different machines and I didn't have ZSH everywhere or oh-my-zsh everywhere. And it got annoying because I didn't have the same things on all the different machines I was using. But I've got to admit, this was back when I was a production person, and then CZ convinced me to try it again for this machine. And I've got to admit, I am very impressed with their plugin systems and the plugins they have now. They've gone above and beyond what I was expecting. So we've got ZSH running on this also, and if you look, you'll see that we even have the what is it called? Autocomplete inside of it, so we can kind of see what the commands we kind of ran last time, which makes life a little bit easier, which is really cool. I kind of want to bring this back to CZ real quick and say, what are the plugins that you really like with ZSH, and where do they fit with Starship? Like, how do you find a balance between those two?
Yeah, so
or do you have an opinion yet?
I've been using oh-my-zsh for a while, and I haven't gone too crazy with it. I definitely use a couple of tools like kubectx and Kubernetes and use their ZSH plugins. But I haven't. I don't like to rely too much on a really rich shell, because then when I'm using other machines, I have problems. Same with my Vim. I usually keep fairly standard, just so I don't develop muscle memories that'll hurt me when I'm using other machines. So I haven't gone too deep into it. I will probably spend more time on Starship, as that's multi-shell. So in theory, it works on ZSH, on Fish, on Bash, etc. And I think there's probably a lot of overlap in functionality. And so most of those things I'll try and use through Starship instead of ZSH and see how that works out.
So the first thing, when I first got it installed, these are the first plugins I pushed into it, which was the Git, Z, Docker, Python, Go, Helm, OC, and ZSH auto suggestions. Being that I put the Git plugins to whatchamacallit now, Starship, I probably don't want those now. That's fine. I'm curious to see how Helm and Docker work, but we're not actually using, well, we're not using Docker on this box quite yet, but we will be using Helm because part of the project we're doing today, we'll be using Helm to install something, which is kind of cool. Okay. So we are here. So, so we have a couple questions. Hi, Righty Key. But believe it or not, I might have actually found someone to help us out with some front-end development for you. I'm in the process of trying to get them scheduled, so hopefully that'll happen soon. And Nibs is asking CZ, would you tell us the story of Salt, of what happened with Salt?
So I actually don't have like a ton of info about what happened with Salt. So I don't want to speculate too much. But the basics I know is they had a 0-day attack, and that was exploited. And there was a couple of internet websites that were hit by it. One of the Linuxes had some Salt infrastructure. They had to rebuild their infrastructure. And someone else that I saw, but I can't remember. It's been patched and everything. I don't think it's like, other than being a bit of an attention grabber, I don't think it's that big a deal. But certainly any of your config management tools, they tend to, just because of what they are, need to have escalated privileges to do their jobs. And so then they're like the blast radius of having someone gain control over your config management systems becomes pretty scary. And so it's a good reminder for folks that, whether it's something like Salt specifically or something like, bad security on the OS that Salt is running on, if you're protecting anything inside your org, it should be anything that has this kind of command and control behavior. So config management tooling, orchestration tooling, even stuff like Jenkins, you should be making sure are up to date, secure, have firewalls set, all that sort of stuff. I think it's just a good reminder that that is a very important thing to do, whether it's Salt or something else.
So I put the saltexploit.com into the chat also. This seems to be there's a gentleman who wrote a way to check the Salt exploit that is available or not. And needless to say, the security people jumped all over him saying, why would you export out? Like, no one's going to use this. But it turns out he actually started collaborate or trying to bring a lot of the data back together, which is really nice. Hey, Tim, thank you so much for following. And it turns out what we know is that it was a crypto mining operation. Basically, people found a way to inject crypto mining applications into the Salt masters, question mark, is a term, and not the minions, or something like that, where it was just basically just beating the bejesus out of the machines. You can read it at your own time if you want. It's actually pretty straightforward. Here's the actual post that he was like, hey, you could test it against here, which is, needless to say, a lot of people got very angry about that because, you're going to take, Salt Master. Yeah. You're going to send your Salt Master to some random website, which kind of isn't that cool if you think about it. But yeah, so here's all the information. So take your time when you can. Cool. All right. So, CZ, so why is the kubectl logs, my pod, not cool anymore?
Well, there comes a time where every little DevOps has to grow up and think about more than just the one machine they're currently looking at, right? And so kubectl logs is really the same as SSHing into your server and running tail, varlog Apache. It's fine, I guess, for like singleton things, but when you're running something like Kubernetes, you're going to have a ton of stuff going on. And so you really want to have some way to centralize that information so you can easily access and correlate logs and alerts and metrics across multiple pods, across multiple deployments, and even potentially across multiple Kubernetes clusters, and even beyond Kubernetes clusters. Like, do you have F5 load balancers, and are they logging to the same logging system so I can correlate those? So the more things you can get logging into a central location, the more correlatable it is to access.
So isn't that what the Stern thing is supposed to be for?
Well, I mean, Stern will let you look at multiple pods for sure. But again, you're still also relying on Kubernetes to provide you those logs. Now, if someone has, perfect example. If someone has hacked Kubernetes, there's a very good chance they can also erase the logs of themselves hacking Kubernetes.
Yes.
If those logs are being shipped off to somewhere else, then there's potentially logs that they don't have access to remove, right? And so that's probably a good example of like your salt stack thing. It's possible that on the minions or wherever they were performing the hacks, they were able to modify varlog to remove any evidence of themselves doing things. But if that was syslogging out to a separate logging machine, then they would have to have root access to that as well to go in and try and clean that up. and try and remove evidence there. And so there's a lot of not just being able to see what's going on from a troubleshooting perspective, but there's also a lot of compliance and other things involved that make having some sort of centralized logging system, like in this day and age, an absolute necessity.
And obviously, as I just proved by using Stern, Stern is great for seeing what's happening at that moment. But I ran Stern, and we've got stuff back from the 5th of May here, which this would be really hard to search through. This would be really hard to see what's like, to CZ's point, if you got hacked into it, you'd have to dig through stuff. So there are options out there that you can do different logging options, I guess is the right word, which is log DNA, which is for when we have an IBM cloud, something called Splunk, which is really, really big, something called the Elk Stack, which is another thing that people go to quite often. Elk Stack, which is done by Elastic and Elasticsearch, which is Elasticsearch, Kibana, and Logstash. And I guess they put Beats in there now too. Interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Beats is kind of an alternative option for ingestion other than Logstash.
Okay. So this was the de facto standard for a very long time. In our world, I should say, inside the cloud native ecosystem, a very long time being a year or so, maybe 2 years.
So I would actually say that it was the default of pre-cloud native.
Really?
And cloud native kind of adopted it because there wasn't really a good, and I'm talking about like, when I'm saying cloud native, I'm like the really cutting edge, like container Kubernetes based cloud native. So I mean, like we've been running the Elk Stack for 6-7 years, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, so in my mind, it was the Elk Stack was the free version of Splunk, right?
Yeah. So there was the two things that were really like, you had Elk and Greylog and Splunk were kind of the three go-to, and there was also, of course, like big syslog farms. Right? We all remember those.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was kind of the 4 ways you do it. Splunk was very enterprisey. Big syslog farms were pretty enterprisey. And then, Elk and Greylog showed up as sort of alternatives to do those that were generally, I don't know, I feel like it was a bit more startup-y. People that were looking to do this stuff but didn't have the legacy infrastructure already there in the form of syslog or Splunk. But I mean, Greylog and Logstash at this stage are easily 7-8 years old, I would think. Like, I know I've been using both for quite a long time.
I never got Greylog off the ground for myself. Like, I've tried multiple times. I think it was Greylog 2. Was that another thing? Yeah, there's Greylog 2 also. Or is that the same thing?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. I think Greylog 2 was just the newer version of Greylog.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess it is. Okay. Well, anyway, but we're not going to play with any of these, right? With all these different options we have, we're not going to play with any of them, because we are going to play with something that Nibs pointed out yesterday, which is called Loki on the stream. I have not seen more about this other than literally this webpage and the GitHub page on the other tab. So we figured it might be kind of fun to go down a spirit quest here and try to actually get this thing to work inside of our little toy Kubernetes instance that we're playing with, and see what we can get out of it. Seem reasonable, CZ?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
I was going to talk a little bit, like architecturally, like the Elk Stack. Elasticsearch is the hardest, to me anyway, the hardest architectural part of that. because it's a big, complex, distributed database, right? Built for handling large amounts of data. So at my previous job, we had 20 odd Elasticsearch clusters, all of them many, many terabytes big, just slurping in data. And you end up caring about individual disks, like you all the way down to the individual disks in hard drives, right? Because like if you're running Elasticsearch, you trust Elasticsearch to ensure that you have consistency in your data. So Elasticsearch is doing like a 3-way replication or whatever, right? If you're doing that, then you question, why would you then run RAID on your servers, right? Because now you're like doing 3-way replication to 3-way replication, right? So you've got all this extra duplication. And so what we would do is we would make Elasticsearch aware of every disk and then let Elasticsearch just use those disks the way it wanted to. And that involved a lot of complex Ansible playbooks to get all the disks into a way that Elasticsearch was happy with, and then also get them configured and running. JJ, why do you always do this? Why do you always do this? We're not even talking about Ceph. How long do you want to go on a diatribe?
Isn't that the same thing? Isn't that the same thing though? Like Ceph, like the way that people use Ceph, they would put it on RAID or whatever, and then have the OSDs on top of that too.
Ideally, if you were doing Ceph right, you wouldn't run any RAID underneath.
Yeah.
I see.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, all right. I just feel like introduce Ceph, and now you kind of need to explain what Ceph is to everyone.
Oh no. We'll let them do that for their own homework, because don't want to go that rabbit hole.
Yeah, and so anyway, that was a lot of work to have the underlying like storage for your logs, and it turns out just about every cloud and storage provider now offer these things, these like storage on the internet, storage in their infrastructure, which is object storage, right? So S3 or Google Cloud Object Storage or IBM Cloud Object Storage, whatever, or Minio if you're wanting to run your own. And so if you already have that available to you, especially if someone else is managing it, wouldn't you rather just use that storage? And the answer is almost always yes. And if that's the case, then if they're storing the data, then you need to store, if you want to make it searchable in a sensible way, you need to store indexes, right, for that data. And so basically what Loki is it takes logs that you've dumped to S3 and it connects to a database, which can be like a local on-file system database, or it can be any of your common databases like Cassandra, like I think Amazon RDS, kind of any of those. So you can use most of the managed clouds have a database you can use for the index as well. And it just combines the two and then only fetches the logs that match the index based on what you're searching for. And so it's taken a lot of the complications of Elasticsearch out of the picture. And as such is a lot more, in a lot of ways, it's easier to operate and run.
Nice.
Because you're only worrying about running Loki itself, and you're hopefully letting Amazon run S3 and Amazon run whatever database, not RDS, but whatever the other one is. And same with an IBM. I'm sure IBM has a cloud store, an object storage. We should be able to use that, and I'm sure they have some sort of database. We should. So
we have a fully S3 compatible object storage, and then we could run it on DB2. No, I'm kidding.
So cool. I feel like that's kind of the basics of Loki, and so that's getting to storing the logs and knowing where those logs are, being searchable, and then you need a GUI. And Loki was actually built by the Grafana folks, and Grafana is like a dashboarding GUI. And so if you're using Prometheus, you're probably already using Grafana to access your Prometheus metrics. And you can then connect Loki up to the same place and have the same tool do graphing for metrics and logs. And then that, in theory, starts to give you ways to correlate the two together.
Nice. Well, we don't have either of them running on this cluster, so it feels like the right thing to do first would be to get Loki up and running, because that's the main goal.
Yes.
And then if we have time, we can get Prometheus up and running.
Yep.
So there, I put the link in the chat if you want to click on it and check it out. There's some good information in here. But we are going to. So there's 4 different ways of installing this. We've done a lot of work with Helm, but there's also this Tanka, which is the recommended way. Tanka seems very specific to Grafana. Am I right on that?
Yeah. So originally it came out of KSonnet, which came out of JSonnet. And it's basically, I don't know, the way I put it is, if you prefer working with JSON, you would use something like this. If you prefer working with YAML, you would use something like Helm. There's a lot more to that argument, but that's just kind of my 5-second hot take.
And Nibs, your reaction of what is exactly how I felt when I read that doc too. This seems very specific, and the more we flirted with the idea of doing it this way first and trying to get it to work. My gut feeling says that we might want to go down this, because we might not actually be able to get it to install because none of us have any experience with it. But we do have experience with Helm. CZ, do you have an opinion?
Well, so go back to the Tanka screen. What do the actual install steps look like?
Oh, the actual install steps of Tanka? Okay.
Yeah.
It is, we install the prepared binding for Tanka, and then we're supposed to just CD the application, deploy.
So we init, and then we need access to the Kubernetes API server to deploy to. And then we go get JSON bundler. Oh yeah, okay. And then we use JSON bundler to collect the KSonnet. Yeah, so
we write some Go, and then we deploy it.
Well, hang on. Slow down. Go back up a bit. A little bit more. I just want to see the title and stuff for this section. Yeah, deploying. So grab the Loki and Prometheus modules. Place the username, password, and a relevant HTTP password, making sure to set the value for the password. So what even language is that?
It's JSON.
Okay. Okay, so I guess we're setting local variables, and then everything else is inside of basically what looks like a JSON object. So if you look at that.
So Nibs just asked, what is JB? I believe it is this.
I guess it's Ruby gems for JSON.
Oh my God, I think it is. It's in alpha stage. Yeah. Package manager for JSON.
But I would be happy to run down the Tanka stages and see where we get to.
Okay.
But I would also be happy to just do it with Helm.
Well, I mean, the whole point of this is to learn, right? So
yeah, sure. I feel like we'd get a lot further if we do it with Helm, because we're already familiar with it. Whereas we might get lost in the weeds doing it with Tanka. So it depends on how much you want to get done.
I like weeds. Let's do this.
All right.
Let's do this. There we go. That's pretty good, Nibs. If you haven't seen, or for the video later, Ruby gems for JSON. Seinfeld. I'm out.
Well, at least I didn't say NPM.
There you go. Hey, there we go. All right. So first thing first, let us go ahead and grab the release of this thing. Jesus. Okay. So we'll go ahead and pull this down. Of course, I don't have rights to that. That would make life too easy. All right. And change mod plus X in TK. Didn't I put it in there?
Should that be a capital O? Oh no, it's curl. Oh, it's curl. That should have. Well, that's not going to help.
Nope, that's not going to help at all. You know
but
what
you
we're going
could
to do?
just.
W get.
Yeah, W get and then dash capital O.
Yeah, it's fine. Oh, I was like, I'm not typing anything. What's going on here?
Oh, didn't like me.
Yeah, you got to do the right arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we
Huzzah, go. TK.
Could have done it inside a docking container too. Okay. So, if you config repo, call it. Okay, so let's go. We don't actually. Okay, hang on. So, mkdir local, cd local. If you don't have a tank operation, do tk init. Oh no, inside of it. So mkdir Loki.
Sure.
Right. So then tk init. JSON bundler not found in path. So we really do need it first.
Yeah. So you need to run those go get commands.
Oh God. Okay.
Well, I guess
we're down the rabbit hole.
No, it told you just below how to install them. Go back to the doc. Under deploying, it says grab the Loki and
okay. Well, I was doing what the README said.
Yeah.
Or the output. Let me.
Yeah. So you can see in deploying, it's got go get JB.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So go get. I'm glad I installed Go on this machine now.
Yeah. Now you know it's going to be good when like the first lines of their deployment documentation are wrong.
Yeah. Exactly.
And this is like, in theory, like commercially supported software.
Nope. Things are happening. All right. Copy. Things are happening. Yep.
Now, did you do that TK init?
I did.
Okay, cool.
Inside the Loki directory.
Yeah.
So we have a couple things in here, and being that I have set up Go to make sure that it goes into the place with correct location, all that jazz. Okay, so now we should be able to go back to TK init. -F. Because that's what failed.
Yeah, because you should have done TK init before you did the JB install.
Well, that's what blew up on the error, was that it couldn't find JB.
Right, but you didn't just install JB, you also ran JB commands.
Yes.
So you should have done go get, and then you should have run TK init.
Oh. Okay.
So I would jump out of this directory and just rm-rf it and do that again.
Okay. So mkdir Loki.
Hey Nibs, while we're doing this, do you want to open an issue with Loki and tell them their instructions are wrong?
TK init. What?
CD into Loki.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Nibs. Oh, things are happening.
Yeah. And now you can do the JB installs.
Got it. Yeah, so this should actually be up here.
Yeah, the go get should be above TK unit.
Isn't there a hip hop artist named TK?
I don't know.
I can hear someone, a hip hop artist, saying TK. I don't know. Anyway, all right. So now we've installed Promptail, Loki, and the init. So then the Kubernetes API server.
Wait, hang on.
Huh.
Did we? Never mind. Yeah. So, wow, it really wants you to know you should grab that from your kube context.
Yeah. Nibs, the issue is the prerequisites and deploying steps should either be combined or reorganized.
Basically, Nibs, the go get you blah 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 JB should be above TK init.
Yeah.
Because TK init requires JB installed.
There's the URL for the actual TK install.
Okay. Wow, this is going swimmingly. So let's try running it without the -- server. Surely it doesn't really need us to know I mean, I guess you could get that from your kubeconfig file, but let's just see what happens.
Nothing. Oh, it just added an environment.
No output.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what happens. We can always come back to that.
There we go. So the environment added this Loki environment, but there is no server.
There is no server.
So I guess we do need to add
I guess
the
you do
API
need
server.
that. Yeah.
So hopefully there's a delete. There's a remove.
You can just do set.
Oh, good call.
Yeah. So if you do a kubectl cluster info, I think it's cluster-info.
Because consistency is cool.
And there's your API server at the very top.
This one? Okay.
Yeah.
So K and V, E and B set environments Loki namespace server equals all of this.
Yeah. Why don't you do a TK and set help and actually see what the
yeah, looks right. Oh, there we go. Set a server known from one. There we go.
If you're going to put namespace there, you need to put in a.
Oh, yep. And then there's your kube config.
Server from context. That's what you want.
Yep. Okay. Server from context. You want me to pull that off?
Yeah. Because you have your context right above.
Default, right? No, it's this.
That's your namespace. It's that.
This whole thing, right?
I think so. It'll blitz if it doesn't like it.
Yep. And it looks like you got it.
That's a much better way to do it.
You want to just create a PR?
Hey, so let's run that one again and just set the server from context to be default and see if it knows to use the default context.
No.
Try with nothing in there.
Nope.
Huh. That's cray. Anyway,
but if we just do ask our labs.
Well, that's not a context.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. I want to just check.
Yeah. All right. So we're back to that. So I guess we go
environment list. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now we have our context. We've installed some stuff.
So now we got to look at environments, Loki main.json, and then we need to modify that. Oh.
It is a very long file.
I had assumed that it was going to give us a
output of some sort.
I mean,
replace the contents of this with this.
But like, it's gone and built that from using JB, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would think they would put in like whatever the minimum required things are to have something work.
Careful. You're thinking.
Right? I mean, from a new user perspective, this is nuts.
Yep.
Like, they either have this as a, as a default thing, or they should be able to know, like, see what settings can be set and what settings are defaults and construct this. Anyways, let's get off my rant. So you want to copy and paste that in. And now I don't think you want to open close those curly brackets. I think you actually need to get rid of those. Yeah, because it said replace the contents.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
What is this? Set, highlight, no. Visual. What is it if you see? The hell is there? Syntax highlighting. Syntax on?
Something like that.
Oh, it's because it's a JSON, and JSON doesn't mean anything. Crap.
Oh, yeah. Fun.
Yeah. Okay. So be sure to replace the username and password, HTTP contents.
Oh, yeah. And of course, it doesn't tell you how to salt.
Nope.
Now, I'm going to guess that you could literally run HT password, which you probably don't have.
HT, no.
So HT password is an app that comes with Apache, right? It lets you set and reset passwords in Apache.
There we go. HT password.
There we go.
Username, or should you like?
I think you can do
Loki.
No, you have to do -n, and then Loki, and then a password.
No. -n updates a file. Oh, output. Okay, got it. All right, Loki with Loki 1, 2, 3, 4.
No colon.
No colon.
Look at the syntax. Yeah. Ooh. -n. -nb, lowercase b. Yeah.
There we go.
And so you want that line right there.
Copy. All right. Okay.
So JJ, what was it you just ran to delete everything up until the quote mark?
That was, hang on, I have muscle memory.
Yeah.
Delete till, so DT tick. Nice. And so if I'm like here, I can do DT tick, and it takes everything out from there.
Yeah. And so you can also use what I guess $sign to the end of line, right?
No. So if I do $, it nukes everything. When I was doing DT tick,
that's what I'm saying. That's why I said end of line.
But you lost the comma,
which is part of the line. That's what I'm saying. Like if you wanted to get rid of the whole line,
got it.
You would use $. And so there's a bunch of Vim things that you can use to shortcut that sort of stuff. But the DT one is not something you see people do often. So I thought I would just call it out because that's like the first quite a nifty trick. Yeah,
it's the first one I learned. Because you always have to delete up to something if you're doing inside of quotes or whatever. So, okay. Now we need to create an S3 bucket.
Now,
yes.
Do we?
I think so.
What does the comment say?
Remove if you're not using AWS. But we're using S3.
Right. So I believe by default, Loki can store stuff on the local disk.
Okay.
So my thought is before we try and get S3 or an S3 clone working, we should make sure we can just run Loki.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
So it looks like comments are double slashed. So let's just comment out that whole section. And then delete. I wouldn't worry about it. And then I would delete all those lines. Yeah. And then.
Now this is interesting.
Here, Promtail config.
If you look here, it's assuming we're running it locally.
Whoa, what?
Yeah. So do I need to do container D here? Because we run container D.
Oh, yeah. So that is actually where it is in your Kubernetes cluster, right? Because it needs to find where the logs are in your cluster. Now, you don't... Does IBM Cloud still run Docker, or is it fully container D?
It's fully container D now.
Right. Valid Docker might not be correct then.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
So where will you find that?
Oh, there was a kube cluster. Oh, there was a command. I've seen it before.
I feel like that's actually something you configure in that's a container D setting. So I'm not sure Kubernetes would even be aware of it to pull it out of the API. I would bet the IBM Cloud Docs would probably tell you.
It doesn't look like Nibs. It is a streaming API. It looks like it really does read it directly from the containers. IBM Cloud container D.
Container root path.
Oh, thank you.
Because you want to be looking at and specifically for but it's not. Is it ICP?
No.
Wait, what? Why? What's insane clown posse have to do with Kubernetes?
Nice. Kubernetes service. Here we go. No, that's not it. Nibs, by any chance, do you remember the command to tell us what the container D / output is? Oh, God.
All right. Well, let's just leave it as we can always change it later.
You think so?
Maybe we're lucky and they have a symlink for it. Because most tools, when you deploy them, like even Elk, it would be running like FluentD or a tool like that would be doing roughly the same thing. So let's Let's come back to that. So let's just leave it as var lib docker and see what happens. And we'll
watch it blow up on us.
Now, the Promptail config is using username and then password. So
doesn't say anything about that.
What's that?
In the where did Gox go? Here it is. Oh, I guess it just assumes you're going to change it.
Well, I don't know, because scroll back up to where it told us about changing it above.
It doesn't. Be sure to set username and password properly.
And the relevant HTTP password. Yeah. So another interesting thing is, like, why wouldn't they have a common place to set that username and password, especially because you're salting it in one place and leaving it in plain text in another. It just feels a little bit strange and incomplete. So I guess, what do we set? Loki 1234?
Yep.
So I guess just set that password to that. All right.
That's what I did, right? Hang on.
Yeah. Yeah, that is what you did.
Just double checking. Yep.
Replication factor 3, console replicas 1. What? Wait, what? Why has it got to run console? Oh my giddy aunt.
Yep.
All right. Note the. Can you get a shell in one of your worker nodes?
No. Yes? Don't actually know.
All right.
Okay, get nodes. Hang on. What the hell is that, Nibs? If it can accept syslog, we're good. I genuinely don't know.
So basically, Promptail is actually a tool that will watch the Docker logs and send them into so Promptail, I don't think by default it's going to accept syslog.
Okay. So I was going to try to get a shell into one of my nodes. Let's see here. Cloud. Logs to Fluent to Loki. That might work.
Yeah. Oh, is Fluent already running and configurable?
According to Nibs, there's already some Fluent stuff in there.
All right.
Devices.
Well, why don't you do a get pods on your kube system, and they're probably, if Fluent's running, it's going to be in there.
Yeah, thank you. I spent some time trying to get the secret thing to work, so that kind of obfuscates it away. Had a chance to use it.
JJ, if Fluent's running in your cluster, it'll be running in the kube system namespace.
Oh, okay.
So I would start by looking in there.
All right. Okay, get pods. Oh my god, get pods namespace of kube system. Yeah, crap.
Calico. Yeah, K get S K dash N IBM system pods.
No, Nibs, it looks like there's no fluid here.
IBM, IKS, IBM Cloud, Fluent logs.
Oh, so you have to make one of the IBM Cloud KS logging. Hang on. IBM Cloud KS logging.
Okay.
Manage updates on add-on cluster. Request a snapshot of your logs for a specific point in time.
So I guess you want to do config, view or modify log forwarding configurations for a cluster. Now, we should also make sure that Fluent D supports Loki.
Yeah.
Because I bet you feeding Loki with Fluent D.
Oh no! I lost the link, Nibs. Sorry. My chat decided to freak out on me. Here we go.
Oh yeah, so you've got to install an actual like Fluent Loki plugin. I'm not sure you're going to get so sophisticated there.
We haven't even installed Loki yet. Thank you, Nibs.
So IBM Cloud, IKS, Docker logs. Okay, here we go. Your app pod mounts var-lib Docker containers to access Docker container logs. The container logs for system D are available under var log pods. So, so if we comment that line out, that should do us.
Nice. Can you post the link that you got that from in the chat?
Oh, I might have already closed it. Yeah, I already closed it.
Yeah.
Nope, hang on, here it is.
Not that we don't trust you, it's that we don't trust you. Oh, okay. I think that was one of them. There we go. Container logs are contained in var log pods.
Good job.
I like how we had to go to a blog post to find this information.
Yep. Yeah.
Can I? Oh, Phil. Oh, no. All right, I'm going to go talk to Phil. Okay. All right. So where are we?
So back to the Loki docs. We've done that. So
we can show environment.
Yeah.
Must specify big table instance. What?
Damn, Daniel.
But you told us we didn't need it.
Okay, so here we go. We need some form of storage backend configuration, right? And so if you look at the storage backend, it's set to S3, DynamoDB, right?
Yes.
So S3 is where the logs are going, and DynamoDB is where the index is going.
Yes.
Now we want to use local disk. So what we need to do now is find where we would
spin up Minio on the local machine.
No. That's not. Why you got to make trouble for me, JJ? So you want to uncomment that line first of all, because we need it to say something, and then we need to set it to whatever local is. So hopefully in their documentation.
Documentation.
In config, if you don't have, is there not a link to further documentation? No, of course not.
Nope.
Pre-built binaries. So just roll right up to the top. Tanka is
maybe under docs
binaries. Yeah.
Ooh.
Configuration.
You want to just search for storage backend?
I mean, yeah, I guess so. Just this stuff should be. Yeah. So.
2 issues.
Okay, well, that at least tells us where KSonnet is, and that might give us the, so click on the config libsonnet. Yeah. And then enable backend. Well, backend in
DynamoDB again. S3, Cassandra, GCS, Bigtable. Those are the 3 that they support.
Yeah. Keep going down though. Maybe there's more.
Nope, it's all just not configs. Client configs here. Cassandra, GCP, GCS.
Oh boy.
Doesn't look like there's a way to just do it to disk.
Bonkers. Well, there is, because I have totally seen it installed before with just logging to local disk. What I'm thinking is maybe the KSonnet stuff, the tanka stuff has. Is it time we switch to Helm? All right, so we are an hour into this stream. I bet you if we switch to Helm, in 15 minutes we'll have it running.
Yeah.
Because we could go for another hour and try and figure it out.
I feel like I'm learning something here, though.
What have you learned?
That there are weird ways to install software in the cloud native space.
Yeah, and I mean, we haven't even learned what KSonnet is. We haven't really learned what Tanka is, right? I mean,
but what I learned, well, we did learn about the fluent D thing.
Well, right? We would have had to have figured that out anyway.
Yeah, I guess it's true. It's true.
But like what I'm saying is we haven't even really learned what Tanka is. We're just blindly following some instructions.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like it's something halfway between a programming language and a way to just maybe layer JSON files on top of each other.
Yeah. Well, let's ask the chat real quick, just so they can speak up. Does anyone have an opinion? Do we keep going down this tanka path, or should we just pivot to Helm and get that done? And you know what? Let's take a couple minute break, and we'll leave it at that. And then when we come back, hopefully somebody has voted or made an opinion, and then we can kind of go from there. Sound good? Yes? Awesome. So yes, we're back. Hi. Hey, Kitch. Yes, we're actually really back. Yeah, we just usually take about a 5-minute break at the hour mark because I'm an old man and I need to walk around. Otherwise, my knees get tired. And thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. So yes, we've actually been playing with those oh-my-zsh for a little while. We started the stream with it. We set up a new Tmux box. By the way, who are you?
No, who are you?
Who are you? So introduce yourself.
Oh, you're talking to me.
Yeah, no, I am.
Oh, again. All right. My name is Paul. I'm still Paul. I have been Paul for a lot longer than this stream has been running, and I am a developer advocate at VMware.
Awesome. Hey, Kitch. Yes, I'm JJ Asgar, and we're streaming some cool stuff with oh-my-zsh, something called Starship, and we're playing around with some Kubernetes stuff to do some Loki, both things. By the way, having Kitch actually here is really apropos because we discovered something. We were looking for where. Oh, you want to bring it up real quick? Kitch is high up inside of the IBM ecosystem, and we were looking for the container root path earlier, and it looks like the only place that we could find it was on a blog post. It was not inside our documentation, or at least it was obvious. So that was an interesting kind of find that we found as we were looking to set up something called Loki. I don't know why this is still going. I started this before the 5-minute break. Loki is a log aggregation system inspired by Prometheus. And part of the installation is we were using their official installation part, which was called tanka. Sure.
Tanka.
And it was a disaster. That's a
Tanka
pretty good,
tanked.
Yeah, tank. There we go. Tanka tanked pretty bad. We got really lost in it, and we took an hour just to try to get it up and running. We got nowhere. So off stream, CZ and I have decided that we are going to play an executive role here, and we're going to go to Helm and get Helm installed so we can at least see Loki working on our IBM cloud. Is that a reasonable TLDR, CZ?
Yeah, I think so. It looks like Helm Hub is being a bit slow, so why don't we just go to, I think the Loki repo had docs on using Helm, and so we should be able to follow those.
All right, and then back down to the installation. Helm.
Perfect.
All right. Helm repo add.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Oops.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Oh, wait,
this is an old version
do a
of
Helm version?
Yes.
Why are you running Helm 2?
I just installed default stuff. I didn't actually, I just, yeah, by default.
What do you mean default stuff? Like, does Debian ship with Helm?
No, I think I pulled it in through one of my other things.
All right.
So let's get that updated real quick.
Yeah, let's do that. I was like, that doesn't look right.
And the 3. Wait. This one?
Yeah.
Even though it's not the latest release?
Well, that's the latest release. That's the.
I know him.
It looks like it hasn't finished. So it's in the middle of being released.
Ah, okay.
But there should be a 3.2.0. Because remember, Helm 2 is still a thing. So there's still patch releases and stuff for Helm 2.
Got it.
So just flip back and just scroll down to Helm 3, something.
Ah, there we go.
There we go. All right. And then scroll down for binaries. Linux AMD 64, up. One more. There we go. You found it.
I'm slow. Leave me alone.
All right.
CD.
Now, where is Helm, the existing Helm binary? Because you want to make sure you kill that off.
User local bin
Helm.
Of course not. Give me a second. I'm trying to be a good citizen by having a machine that root. You can't sudo in this machine because how many times have I been hacked or whatever because a sudo has been able to do more than it should. So I've just removed it completely this time. Okay, cd actually, and cd. Do I have a zips directory here? No, I don't. Source mpdr zips wget, and then tar xvcf helm. There we go. And then mv home tmux source zips helm. It's Linux helm user local.
I would stick it in your home directory bin, and that way you have control over it.
Yeah, I got it. Good call. Linux bin X. All right. Well, no. Here, I'm doing another window.
All right. Well, don't do it as root.
I'm not. I'm changing the owner right now.
All right.
Tmux bin helm. Does it come in with a executable?
I don't know.
You're typing HTML. There we go. Version. There we go. Okay, we're back. Right. We are back. All right.
So it looks like we don't even need to do a Helm in it anymore.
Yep. So we want to close this terminal. Close this terminal. Go back to 3.
Oh yeah. Okay.
There we go. This is the one we want to do. Or was it 2? Sorry. We want to go to 2. There you go. There we go.
All right.
So we didn't actually do
this. I thought I gave this a name, so we would.
Oh, every time you open up Vim, it overwrites it.
Ah.
Okay, here we go. Need to add this repo now. Like so.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
And then run Helm repo update.
Repo update.
All right.
Now, if you look down a little bit, look at that Loki stack. That looks like something we should do.
Persistent volumes. False. Yay. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's everything we want. But it's an upgrade. Oh, dash install. Okay.
Yeah. Now, I would say we probably want to create a values file and stick those sets into there.
Okay.
And because we may also need to look at what we need to set a password and some other stuff. I would probably, that Loki directory as it exists, I would like move that to be Loki dash tanka, in case you ever want to come back to it, just so you don't mess with it. And then make a new Loki dash Helm. Yeah. And then in Loki dash Helm, create a values.yaml. And then paste those in, and then we'll just fix it up inside the. Right, so here, let me try something.
Yep.
I think we can do, hang on, make sure I'm looking at the right spot. comma.
Oh, wow.
Nearly. Why wouldn't it? Oh, you have to.
Were we in because we're in insert mode? Maybe.
Maybe. All right. I was going to try and be clever.
Yeah. Can't believe I'm getting back to Vim.
Okay, $1 equals colon. Right. And then. Really, that is not what I wanted. I love it when they try and be helpful. Like, come on, Vim. Like, either be helpful properly or don't be helpful at all.
There we go.
Manager. Debian's default Vim is really awful.
It really is. I don't know if it is. Is it even Vim? I don't actually know.
Well, that's a good question. Did you run Vim? Yeah. Uh-oh.
Did you really?
Guess who didn't save it?
Boo.
Copy that line back in. Ah, come on. Amateur hour here.
Shit, hang on. There you go. All right, do your little Vim golf thing. Come on now.
No, whatever is going on with the default Debian Vim is really gross.
Oh, you want to update it? You're more than welcome to.
Well, no, because I don't. Yeah, paste that line back in one more time, would you?
All right. No lines in buffer. There you go.
So first of all, do that.
I'm actually genuinely curious. Oops.
All right.
I think I just upgraded Vim too.
Okay. What else are we looking at? Server volume.
Well, we need to see the docs, right? So what's the best way to find the docs?
Well, you were at the docs.
That's all the install. Like we were looking here.
Yeah.
Oh, here. This is just the installation. Remember, we had to.
Yeah. Just scroll down. Hopefully they have a link to. No. Why are they so bad? All right, so scroll up. Hopefully the Helm chart is inside the same repo. We don't have to go hunting. So go to the root of the repo.
Is it this? Add the. Okay.
Is there like a deploy? No.
The actual chart link was back there, though. Can we go to that one?
Oh, it was? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Chart repository. Values.
Ah, perfect. Values. Yeah. Okay, so this is for Loki. We don't want ingress. Scroll down. Do a search for password.
Nothing.
What? Okay. Do a search for
Authentication.
Yeah, or no.
Auth enabled. False.
All right. Well, we'll leave it false for now. We can always come back to that.
Hey, you want some console?
Yeah. Console? No, we don't want console.
Ring.
Schema configs.
So it does install console.
Huh. So scroll down.
Port. Right here.
Yeah, see, that's what we were looking for. So schema configs, BaltDB, object store. Yeah, so BaltDB is a local file-based database and object store file system. So that should have it working. We definitely want to set a password on Grafana, but I'm guessing it's actually going to install it from the Grafana Helm chart, so we should get a password by default. We do want to find the Promtail chart, which if you scroll back up to the top, no, right where you were, scroll back up, keep going up, under Helm, under production Helm, there should be a Promtail values, and then look for
the file log.
Yeah. So just look for file log Docker.
Here we go.
There we go. Look at that. So even this guy is smart enough to just try and do both.
Mm-hmm. So it seems.
So the Helm chart is way better. So I think we can literally apply this with all the defaults and it's going to work. You want to try that?
Yeah, I'll see it.
All right. So let's save this off. And then it should have had a Helm install command to do the Loki stack or Loki stack, I think they called it.
Oh yeah, where was it?
Back in the install docs.
Here we go.
Yeah, so just without the set, and instead you want to do values equals values.yaml.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, fun. Okay. So first of all, we should actually create a create namespace Loki. And then let's have a look at that file values.
We don't have YAML installed. We should probably get that fixed.
Oh my God.
What?
It literally replaced our spaces with tabs.
Yeah, do a colon set list real quick. 2 words.
Oh yeah.
There it is. That is gross. What is the IBM developer stream other than just learning more about Vim? It's amazing, isn't it, Kitch? Slowly but surely.
Okay, that all looks lined up.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. One more there. Okay. That looks lined up. And then...
That seems right.
And...
Okay. Yep. Just thinking about it. Things are happening.
All right.
If I remember correctly, I actually once bound F11 to set paste because I was so tired of typing it in over and over and over again when I was a big Vim user. Here we go. You want to watch that till you come up? Nope. I think it's running.
Well, there's not everything.
Oh,
was,
yeah.
I hate that Watch can't use aliases.
It's such a weird thing.
Yeah.
Such a weird thing.
So most things are up. It looks like we've got Alert Manager just popped. Prometheus server just popped. So we just have Loki itself.
Mm-hmm.
Which...
Oh, it's just a key.
And
Kitch.
there it is.
I can find it for you later, though.
Whew.
In my
So
VimRC.
That is all running. So Promtail is running as a daemon set.
Mm-hmm.
So you have one of them on each server.
Node. Yep, each node.
Node. And so let's do a
Stern.
Loki Promtail.
Oh, things are happening. Too many requests.
Yeah, so I think we're just slamming the Loki API as it's trying to slam logs in there.
Oh, interesting. Oh, it's creating everything because it's got to catch up for a month worth of logs, right?
Yeah. So Helm OS. Okay, get service. Okay, get ingress. Okay, that's good. So we don't have any ingress. We don't have any way for someone to get in outside. So now we can do a K port forward. Loki, Grafana, 3000 to 3000. Why isn't this? Your autocomplete's not quite working right.
No, it's not.
Yeah, not on everything. Loki, Grafana. So you should be able to
Go to port 3000 on the oh. Is it because you're using the K instead of the kubectl? Is that the reason why the tab complete isn't working? No.
I wonder if can you?
Oh, I don't think I ever did. I never installed the tab completion because
so the other thing is
Control V now.
What's that?
Control V should work now.
Really?
Let me do it. There you go. I got it.
Yeah.
Port 3000.
All right, now you should be able to go to localhost port 3000.
Nope.
Oh, derp. Because this is on the
yeah.
machine.
It's on a remote machine.
Oop. Yeah, so let me quit that, and you can do that from a prompt on your local machine. I assume you've got the kube config on your local machine.
I should.
I mean, we could forward a port through
No.
SSH and do a bunch of garbage, but we shouldn't need to.
Okay, get nodes. Jam. Okay, hang on. Can I go ahead and put this back up? Let me fix this real quick so people can't see my keys and all. Okay, get or cluster. Okay, yes. I really should make that an alias. Okay, and then we come back over here and steal this guy.
Oh yeah, that works, I guess. You might need to change your namespace into the Loki namespace.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, and here we go. Run the port forward, and then run this. Hey! Yay! People just heard some clapping.
Now we need to get the admin password. I'm doing that in the tmux.
Okay.
If you want to put tmux back open and see what I'm doing. Right, so there's a secret called Loki Grafana, and they have an admin user admin password.
Wow, that's
well, hang on. It's a secret, dude. It's base 64.
Oh, that's right.
Right, and so you can then do. Have you got YQ on here?
Probably not. Nope. Did I just make you sad? I made you sad, didn't I?
YQ. Let me install that real quick. YQ. Ubuntu. Oh my god! Just give me a downloader. Releases page. 333 YQ Linux AMD 64. Let me get YQ bin YQ chmod plus X bin YQ. Right,
Yay.
and then base 64 decode. That there is your password if you want to copy and paste that.
Is it the username of admin?
Yeah, admin.
Okay.
I think.
Logged in? Yep.
Sweet. And now under, let me see. Go to the settings.
Settings.
So the down bottom left-hand corner. Sorry, left-hand side up.
This one?
Yeah, that guy. Configure data source. And it's actually already done that for us, which is pretty handy.
Does that mean we need to do another port forward to 3100?
No, because that's a data source for Grafana, not for you.
Oh, got it.
Right, Grafana is collecting data from the Loki API, and will And then so on the left-hand window, one of those should be like Explore. Yeah, click on Explore. And then select Data Source, drop down to Loki. And then you can see where it says log labels. You can just change, you can set something there. So if you wanted to look for a particular app or something, you could go to Kate's app. And then what have we got that you want to see logs for?
Do we have our Huygens stuff in here?
I don't know.
Would it be under name?
Yeah, go to namespace. Go to namespace.
Cluster info. Oh, we can look at our whatchamacallits, our SSL.
Yeah, you can look at your SSL certs. Absolutely.
Oh.
Wow. So up the top you can see metrics and logs. Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Boom! Look at that.
Wow, DN Simple is very angry at us.
Didn't we have this conversation last time you did this?
Yeah.
You're lucky they don't ban your account, dude.
I know. But I changed the API key and all.
Well, that's why it's a problem. Because it keeps trying to log in with a bad API key. It doesn't have any kind of like back pressure.
Sorry, Amy, if you're watching this. My bad. I get that fixed.
So let's look at, do you still have Huygen even installed on here?
I do.
So go back up to top. Go like log labels, namespace equals, change that to be Huygen, I guess.
No.
You sure you've got?
It's default. It's default. Yeah, there you go. The about messages.
All right, but so now one thing I noticed looking at this default is like we're not seeing what app they're coming out of, right? What container, what pod, what deployment.
Correct.
So pop one of those open because you can see there's a little little arrow.
Yes, this one. It actually worked. There you go.
So here we have all the labels and stuff. So I bet you if you would actually go to like the dashboarding section, you would actually set these up so that it would show the app Kubernetes IO component or IO instance or whatever. Right? And so you'd actually be able to build out richer information.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like these errors, this MySQL in a connection, I can actually watch how often it fails.
Right.
Which is, I was trying to get your URLs up and running on it as a personal thing. Just trying to learn of all the Helm stuff we've been doing. I was using the Helm chart to try to get it up and running, but it turns out I went down a really far rabbit hole with this thing.
What is URLs?
Basically, it is it's a URL shortener. So it's really straightforward on a VM, but I couldn't seem to get the Helm chart to work.
Right.
I was practicing basically. My idea was getting link.asgarlabs.io / a crazy long link, the reverse, instead of making a shortener, make a longer.
Radio.
Yeah. So
what I'm learning here is JJ doesn't use namespaces.
It's true. It's true.
Now we also did we install Prometheus? Did that come along part of the Loki stack?
It did.
So let's go back to kget pods. Prometheus is running. So we might even go back to Grafana then, and let's change to see if there's any default dashboards installed. Prometheus. Well, actually, on the right-hand menu, there should be a dashboards that are manage. No dashboards found. All right. In that case, go back to explore. The explore interface is pretty chunky, so it might be painful. Enter a POMQL. Yeah, I don't even want to try that. But it looks like it is collecting metrics. So why don't we go to, I think it's dashboards.prometheus.io.
That's not how you spell it.
No, it's not. Grafana.com/dashboards. You got a couple down.
This one?
Yeah, that one might do it. All right, and there should be. Oh, it's already doing a. That's funny. Google had cached someone's actual search, so you're actually seeing a search results. So yeah, click dashboards. There should be a. No. Oh, there it is. Search within this list. I see. So type in IBM. Well, that's not what we want. All right. I thought they might have a default. So just Kubernetes maybe. See if we can find like a default Kubernetes metrics.
This one? This looks like one everyone's been downloading.
Yeah, I'm just hoping there's more of just a generic Kubernetes.
Nope. Hey, Cert Manager.
Yeah.
Cluster monitoring for Kubernetes.
Yeah, that's the
Pivotal.
one. Oh, there we go. So copy ID to clipboard, and then go to Grafana, and go to dashboards manage. Oh, import. Dashboards import will do. Paste. Load. And then name. Yep, and give it a folder. So just type, do like Kubernetes. Yeah, and import. Yeah.
There we go.
All right.
That's so legit.
It's giving you some information, not all of the information. There's probably some extra things we need to do to hook the metrics up to exactly the right spots for some of these things. So I have found that the exact URL for the various metrics can change from cluster to cluster.
So for instance, this one, we would need to change.
I wouldn't even know. Like we'd have to figure out what the, like what's exporting it. Is it like Kube metrics or is it CADvisor? It'd be a whole.
Oh, okay.
A whole like rabbit hole to go through and figure that out. But at least we're seeing like the memory usage and CPU usage and stuff, right? So that's a good start. So that, I mean, that's pretty cool, right? So
yeah,
I mean, what we started at like 10 past, and so in about half an hour with a bit of futzing about, not only do we have Loki, but we also have Prometheus and we have Grafana, which in half the time we didn't even get Loki installed using Tanka. I feel like that's a pretty good win.
Absolutely.
Now, of course, like getting this stuff installed is really only like the start of a long slog, because you do have to build out dashboards. And as you can see here, default dashboards up on the Grafana website don't necessarily line up with what's on the cluster.
So true. But how would, like, where do you edit these things? Right? Like that's kind of where I was trying to get at when I was going down this little thing right here. It's like, that's
Yeah.
cool. I get it is broken and there's a whole rabbit hole to find it, but where do I even start? Like there's no like edit button here.
Right. So I think like this whole dashboard is one big JSON blob, I think. So you might need to.
So we need tanker.
Can I just leave?
Sorry. All right.
Yeah. So maybe up on the right up the top where you've got the wheel at the top there. I think that's dashboard settings. So I think that's specific to this dashboard.
Make editable.
Go to the JSON model. So this is the actual definition of the database, of the dashboard. So you literally have to find the section for.
Oh, here you go. Like that's the actual search, right?
Yeah. And so you have to figure out the search and the strings and I think it's PromQL, the Prometheus query language.
Yep. Wow. So this is like a glass of whiskey and a Saturday night when you got nothing better to do.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, this is brutal. But I guess by the time you get it done, right, you'll be able to export it out and share it with people because now you have something that they don't have to figure out themselves.
Right. Assuming that they have the exact same Kubernetes cluster that you have.
Well, I mean, if you do it generic enough, like for the IBM cloud, for instance, right? Like to your point, the Pivotal one did not work because Pivotal looks for specific things, where IBM looks at other things.
Yes.
If I sat here, as I said, got a glass of whiskey and just kind of tried to figure this out, then I could save it as the IBM version of it, and congratulations, you get all your Grafana bot.
Yep. But I think I'm sure there's a way to like just edit components of the dashboard. So maybe go back to the dashboard.
1 second, we got a request to try to go to this. Want to see if this is possible? No, sorry, Kitch, it is not possible. I think he thinks that I believe we had the part of this already enabled via, like we already had Grafana and all inside of IBM Cloud, and Kitch was attempting to get me to link to it, so we don't actually have to install any of this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so we can actually. So there is a Grafana running, Prometheus running.
Looks like that might be. Yeah.
Okay. So let's have a look in our cluster. So kgetNS.
It's probably in the IBM system.
K-N IBM system get pods. New. Get pods -n kube system. So there is a metrics server running, and so this is probably what the Prometheus is talking to collect those metrics, which is pretty standard. There is a dashboard metrics scraper, but I'm not seeing. Oh, that's metrics scraper for the Kubernetes dashboard.
Can we look at the logs of that metrics server to see what's actually in there? Or is that even worth it?
Well, that's we can have a look, but like that's a standard Kubernetes.
Oh, it is. Okay.
I wish you're.
Spelling metrics wrong. No, it is getting some information. Right?
Yeah. So
it is doing something for us.
Yeah.
Don't know what, but something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is getting some metrics. We just need to maybe, I don't know. So cluster infra is ours. We do IBM systems. Is there anything in IBM operators?
No.
No? Yeah, so I don't think Prometheus is running here. Maybe there's a IBM Cloud command to enable Prometheus. But it certainly doesn't look to be enabled by default.
Kitchen's asked me to try this again. Nope. It did not work.
But we're not running, this is not OpenShift though, this is IKS.
True. But the technology, they're both Kubernetes, right? And he has an OpenShift cluster that he was doing some work on that he wanted to show some logs that would show the integration that we had by default with that. But
that wouldn't be showing what we're doing here.
Correct. Like what we've done here is we've installed our own version of Grafana and Loki on a local machine where Kitch is trying to show us that there is a plugin, one that's already done by the cloud, but it looks like, to your point, is through OpenShift, not through vanilla IKS.
Right.
So it's a build versus buy conversation basically happening. Which I have to admit, like I will say, when we actually sat down and used the Helm chart to get this up and running, it was it was.
Go ahead, finish up what you're saying.
Oh, well, what I was saying, it wasn't too bad. It really wasn't. Yeah. As soon as we used the Helm chart.
Yeah, but like if IBM Cloud does have an automatic like Prometheus metrics things, then we should absolutely use that. There's no like, why run it yourself unless you have some very bespoke things you need to do. If your cloud provider does it for you. I'm just not seeing any hints that like Prometheus or anything is running to collect metrics and send them to some central service.
So according to Kitch, this was just to show Grafana and Prometheus can do together. Oh, I guess he's trying to show off cool graphs and cool.
Oh, okay.
Cool Grafana graphs. Yeah, the magic of dashboards. Yes, absolutely. You can get lost in these graphs. You can absolutely get lost in these dashboards. Like every good DevOps in the world, right? Or SRE in the world, what do we make? Graphs. Make really pretty graphs. So cool. Well, let's take a look at our agenda. See where we are. It looks like we got to drink some beer.
I mean, if that's what they say, that's what they say.
Honestly, I feel like we got what we were planning on done. We played with some oh-my-zsh, played with some Starship. If anyone has any questions about any of the things we had or anything, please post it in the chat. Otherwise, I think we can finish a little bit earlier than normal today, which is fine by me.
It's very unusual for us to be done early.
Well, I mean, we could go back to tanka.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Sorry, your break.
Yeah, no, I'm actually really happy that it was just like, to your point, it just worked. Like we just sat down and did it. So cool.
Now there might be some advanced features that Tanka gives you that Helm doesn't, but like from that mean time to dopamine, that I want to try a thing to having that thing working. Helm, for the most part, just worked, right? I mean, we literally used all of the default settings.
Yeah.
Most of our time spent doing it was reading the instructions and then fudging around in Vim because we weren't used to the default settings. I think between like the default Vim and the default tmux, it's a bit weird. Like it's strange because my tmux, I can just copy and paste normally out of it. Whereas for some reason in the tmux we've got on here, if I highlight something, it immediately like.
Oh, I set mouse. I turned the mouse on. So you can use the scroll wheel.
Ah.
Yeah.
So this isn't
turn that off.
default. This is JJ breaking things.
No. You should have the scroll, because especially if we're sitting here like working on something together. See?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, I just use Control K and use the scroll up, scroll
Okay.
down.
Isn't it the little angle bracket?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Control angle brackets.
Yeah.
Where did I get K from?
I have no idea.
Anyways, cool. Are we done?
I think so. Unless anyone has anything in the chat they want to mention or say. We'll give it a couple more minutes here. Otherwise, we will say goodbye. Boom. Things are happening. Words are happening. Cool. Well, thanks everybody. Yeah, we'll be back later? Question mark. Yeah. Thanks, Paul.
Bye.